This is how you load a Mamiya 6 MF. One thing that you should consider before you start is that it would be a good idea to close the back door. If you can see here inside of the camera, there is this trap door that's closed here. The point of that is that if you were changing your lenses, you would have to use that so that the light in this, because it's a mirrorless camera, it's a rangefinder. So you'd need something that would protect the film from being exposed, but since these are leaf shutters, that's just how it works. Anyway, it's a pretty good idea to close that whenever you're changing a film, just so you don't get as much dust on the back of the film. The next step will be to use these little orange tabs here. There's one on both sides, the one here on the left and one here on the right. You're going to use that, you're going to flip those, take out the old used reel, and you want to slide that over here to the right side. And then just click it in, there's a little button on the bottom, and you would push that back in. Next up, take your roll of film and put that into that same spot. Now, as you're unrolling, it goes in just like so until it clicks in and it'll be ready to go. Next, take that paper all the way across, slide it directly into what is now the take up spool. Do the slide pad there. We'll be ready to go. And then you can kind of move the here just a little bit to make sure that it's beginning to reel. Sometimes you have to walk it a little bit, especially with an older film like this. Normally, if you're shooting 6x6 film, you get 12 frames per roll. And if you are going to get your film developed professionally, I would highly recommend you stick things, you do it completely normally, do exactly what you're supposed to. But if you're going to self-develop, I have a little trick that I can get a 13th photo out of these. The reason I say that you should do this, only do this if you're self-developing, is because any roll of those 12 frames, it's got a little bit of buffer space on both ends, at the beginning and at the end of the film. With that, the professional labs know that exists, and so they're not always quite as careful in where they cut the film when they are removing it from the backing paper, and also some of the professional scanning equipments struggle with that first little bit of film until it gets caught fully into their system. And so they're not always able to either cut it and save it correctly or to scan it. But if you're doing it by yourself, you can figure out a way to make that work. So I'm going to show you how to do both things as you're doing it. Now that the film is loaded in, you're going to need to begin winding here just using the lever. And there's just one or two winds just like so. And what I want to do is I'm going to show you where I would load it if I was going to do with 13, is I would stop right here. Across the top and the bottom, there's these three metal bars, and then there's this triangle in the middle. If I'm trying to get 13, I stop the line of where you're supposed to stop right at the very beginning of this second bar. And that's the exact spot that I want to be in order to get 13 frames. But if I'm going to send that off to the lab, I will continue that all the way over here to the middle and then only have 12 frames. It'll go from there. One thing that's important to note, if you're going to use 13 frames, also make sure that your film is set to 220/135. This backing pressure plate is actually really easy. All you have to do is you just push it down and you can twist it from 120 to 220. If it's in 120 mode, the camera will only take 12 photos and then it will release itself and allow you to just kind of wind until it's done and finish the roll. But if it is in 220 mode, it would expect it to have twice as much film, and so it would continue on up through 24 photos. In this case, you're only going to get that 13th photo, and then you just have to take a couple photos, like wind, click, until you get to like 16 or 17, and by then the paper should fully release, and you'll be ready to just remove it out of the back without having actually reached the end. Once the back is closed, just like so, and you can do 4 to 5 winds, and that would get you all the way to the end of the roll, and then it would be prepared to shoot. One thing you also would want to do is to come up here to the top and adjust the ISO to be the correct speed. To simply do that, simply lift the outer ring and you can twist it to be whatever speed is accurate for the film that you just loaded. Then when you're done, all you'll have to do is simply open the back. All the film will have been moved over to the ending spool, and you can just simply pop that again and take it right out. If you close that back door to make sure that no dust was getting out of the back of the lens, don't forget to flip that and therefore open it up. Mamiyas are really smart, and they're designed in a way to make it so you can't take photos if you're not supposed to take photos. But there's been quite a few times that I have done that and then been like, why is my camera broken? Only to realize that I'm the dummy. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I'll see you around.